This is the Driffield Junior School method for division in Year 5. It's the repeated subtraction method, so it's building on from Year 4. We've taken away the counters on base 10 of Year 3, and we're using a more abstract representation with numerals representing the numbers and the amounts. Before we begin, place values worth remembering is that 1 in the tens column is obviously worth 10, and 1 in the hundreds column is worth 100. Example calculation we're going to do is 312 divided by 3. So our first step is that we set it up. We've got our dividend of 312 here. We put a divisor outside. So we've got 3 hundreds, 1 10, and 2 ones. Altogether we get 312. Obviously we can represent using 3 numerals rather than lots and lots of different counters or huge amounts of base 10. So we've got 312 divided by 3. Our first step is we look in the hundreds column. So we're looking for how many groups of 3 can we see in the hundreds. We're not doing how many 3's in 3. We're saying how many groups of 300 can we see? Well, there is one group of 300 there. Because there is 300, we've got one group of 300s. So we put a 1 up at the top. Now it's in the hundreds column, so we know that's worth 100. So this is where the repeated subtraction comes in. We're now going to take away 300 from 312. So that leaves us with a little remainder of 12. So now we move on to the next column. We're looking in the tens. In the tens, how many groups of 3 tens are there? We're not saying how many 3's are there in 10. We're saying how many groups of 3 10's are there. We've only got 1 10, so there are no groups of 3 10's. So we put a 0 at the top, and we've still got our 12 here. We can't do anything with that yet. So what do we do with this 10? We've got 1 10 and 2 1s. So we can see that we've got 12, so we have to do a bit of renaming. We rename the 1 10 as 10 1s. So if 1 10 becomes 10 1s, that gives us 10 1s plus the 2 that are already there. So we now have 12 1s. It's a little bit of moving around and renaming and regrouping, getting ready to go. But it brings us into our final stage. We're now saying how many groups of 3 can we see in the ones? Well, we have 12 ones now. So how many groups of 3 are there? There are 4 groups of 3 in 12. So we put our 4 at the top, and we've got our result. We've got our quotient of 104. Because it's repeated subtraction, we now subtract our 12, just to make sure, and we can see that we've got nothing left, so there's no remainder. So 312 divided by 3 gives a quotient of 104. That is the Year 5 repeated subtraction division method.